The following is a special presentation of The Lost Pilot for Simon at the Cinema. Enjoy.
The year was 1997 and W. W. Norton and Company published a work of creative non-fiction by American journalist, author and filmmaker Sebastian Junger, about the 1991 macro-scale extratropical cyclone in the western North Atlantic Ocean that absorbed Hurricane Grace, becoming the perfect storm. Jump ahead to 1999 when Baltimore Pictures, in partnership with Radiant Productions, began production of an adaptation of Junger's work helmed by legendary German director Wolfgang Petersen, from a script penned by Bill Whitliff. The film was released in the cinema on June 30, 2000, grossing $328.7 million, becoming a box office hit and nominated for 2 Academy Awards, Best Visual Effects and Best Sound. I recently got an opportunity to sit down with one of the stars of the film for an exclusive look back at the team that came together to make a perfect storm for the film. The Perfect Storm. I want to thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I want to start at the beginning. You are now a third-generation actor?
Yes, my grandfather started in the 20s working on films like Buster Keaton's Steamboat Bill Jr. My father followed in the family business. His big break was being the titular character in 1952's Singing in the Rain. So big shoes to fill.
You actually got to work with your father in 1991's Point Break.
Yeah, that was special because that was Dad's last film as an actor. So it was really emotional, especially when we were filming his last scene.
Walk me through the story of how you ended up on The Perfect Storm.
I remember watching the news in '91 when the storm actually hit. We were in production for Point Break and I remember my dad turning to me and saying, if they ever make a biopic about this, you know, as a joke, but then cut to 8 to 9 years later, I'm on set in Massachusetts. But before that, I was working mainly in television, doing pretty well. And then James Cameron started working on Titanic.
And to clarify, you didn't work on Titanic?
No, none of us did. James Cameron started using artificial water in his projects and that started this shift in the industry. So a lot of us actors were out of work.
So what did you do?
I did what every out-of-work actor did back then. I started working at Universal Studios Hollywood. Then sometime in 1999, I was back home visiting my dad, figuring out what my next move could be, when he got a call from his old manager that Wolfgang Petersen was adapting A Perfect Storm for Warner Brothers and they wanted him to consult on the film.
Seems like your father predicted the future.
Right? So, he started working with the team and had me on the production as a coordinator when Gail Katz, a producer on the film, suggested bringing my father out of retirement and having him act. And my dad said no, but you should use my son. Next thing I knew I was in rehearsals for 6 weeks, and I got to work with some up-and-coming talent. You know, my grandfather knew Wind's grandfather. They met on the back 40 of RKO. Wind was working on Gone With and my grandfather was taking generals. How's that for a small world?
You two famously became rather close on that shoot, correct?
Yeah, we all bonded pretty hard on set. It was a grilling shoot, but you develop this group mentality with your fellow actors and you want to elevate everyone on set.
I'm sure this is hard to talk about, but where were you when you got the news about Wind?
I was on the set of Now You See Me Too and I got the call from his sister. I broke down. You know, Wind was a wild one for sure. But he was so sweet and kind. Sorry, look at me, I'm a mess. I am honored to have called him my friend and I know he's looking down on me every day and I just try to remember that.
You actually dedicated your performance in Now You See Me Too to him, and started the Winds of Change Foundation along with his family.
Yeah, we worked closely with the National Weather Service to set up programs for winds, gusts and breezes to find them the resources they need to live.
Powerful stuff. I want to thank you again for taking the time to sit with me.
Again, My pleasure.
That's our show. I want to thank Rain, and if you want to know how to help the Winds of Change Foundation, you can visit them at www.walkfoundation.com. Thank you and good night.